her internal organs and collected blood, rushed has been consumed by the organism, but were a part of
Godzilla, the kaiju that has acquired a plethora of titles over the many years of his constant reign of terror and charisma. The king of monsters, king of the titans, the mutant dinosaur. Needless to say, he deserves his crown and throne as one of, if not the, most popular monster/kaiju known to mankind. I've talked about it plenty of times before, but unless you saw these movies when they were first coming out, they weren't all that scary. Now that I think about it, was Godzilla ever supposed to be scary? That may be a very silly question, but considering what the movies turned into, I think it's warranted. The answer to that question is unsurprisingly a definite yes. Godzilla is literally a representation of the atomic bomb. He's a giant terrifying creature who leaves nothing but destruction wherever he goes. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a good Godzilla popcorn movie, but the recent rise in Godzilla being returned to his terrifying roots has had me overjoyed, and more of a Godzilla fan than I thought I would ever become. And it isn't just at the hands of the internet either. Godzilla Minus One was a stellar example of a Godzilla movie done right. I literally rate this movie a 10 out of 10. But the many Godzilla horror series we have had sprout from all over the web has shown that there are so many dedicated fans ready and able to take this character to new heights. And ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for us to finally check out probably the most terrifying piece of Godzilla media to ever come out, Shelter 54. When I said that the last video was what all the previous Godzilla videos were leading up to, I was half correct. This is what we have been leading towards. We're in the endgame now. As always, be sure to check out the channel Lost Utopia Films before coming on over here for us to cover the series as a group. This one is so worth it to experience firsthand. Trust me. So put on your high stat gear, preferably with some anti-radiation material, and join me and Mr. Minus as we Join me and Mr. Minus as we make our way through Shelter 54 and try our best to survive the journey.
It's a bit of a grammar error there, I see.
Yeah, 2 words.
But before I let you get too far, just wanted to say if you're new here and enjoy what you're watching, be sure to hit all those neat buttons down below as it really helps support the channel. And if you want to see more, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Letterboxd. Alright, now you can pass through.
Shelter 54. The video opens up with our standard logo for this production, before we cut to footage of a hellhole, better known as Florida, in the middle of June, as a narrator explains that on this day, tragedy would indeed strike. Footage of the presumably ensuing chaos occurs before we are given a simple sneak peek at what awaits us. The narrator then claims over the span of a year, due to negligence and poor management, thousands of deaths would occur. Not only that, but also the birth of a creature, unlike anything we have ever seen. You could say this is a trailer of sorts for the horror that awaits us in Shelter 54.
I have to see how to pronounce this already.
I think it's Prodkif. I don't think that's right in the slightest.
Chapter 1. Progenitor. We are taken to the Florida Everglades, a few days before the dreaded Shelter 54 incident. What we learn is that a pipe bursts underneath the Biomajor facility, a genetic engineering company. Who would have thought such a small incident could lead to the horrors awaiting us ahead? The contamination from the burst pipe ends up reaching the Everglades, which leads to yet another mutation, except this time within a small mosquito population. God forbid, I say. This led to them growing larger than we've ever seen before, and I absolutely hate it. We are then introduced to Dr. Nico Totopoulos, as he first observed the mosquitoes while he was observing Subject 17 in Mexico, and if you look close enough you can see Timothée Chalamet. This led his research team to follow the mosquitoes as they would feed off one superfauna to the next. These new horrific giant mosquitoes were given the name Skedera, Subject 18. We then cut to various footage where the Skedera had made their way back to Florida and began to terrorize the streets. All the commotion ended up attracting the attention of Subject 16, which in the last video you informed me that his true name is Zilla, and he's here to throw down. He hates these pests as much as we do. And yes, I see it now. It's green fire, and not a back gas attack. It looks like these mosquitoes are still giving Zilla a hard time, however. There are a lot of them. But this is where the Shelter 54 incident begins.
Despite being a Class C containment shelter, your stay at Shelter 54 should be a cozy one, as it includes an underground hydroponic system, as they call it, Due to it being Class C, however, the doors pretty much have to be shut manually by personnel. We are told that at some point in this battle with Skeeterra, Zilla managed to get a critical roll, followed by swatting a fly. At this time, Anthony Harris and Stephen Kessler, the two in charge of the shelter, were trying to hurt civilians inside. The aforementioned critical hit, however, caused Skeeterra's blood and organs to flood the entrance, taking Anthony with it. Shortly after, Stephen went to investigate the commotion before the flood took him too. He must have been raised in a barn, however, considering he left the door open. Over 200,000 gallons of radioactive fluid poured into the room and consumed all those inside. And if this didn't sound grim enough, we even get to hear the audio footage of the last known call from the shelter. The caller appears to be a mother named Jennifer, trying to keep her kids close while on the line with her husband David. The audio is about as chaotic as you'd imagine, with the screams of fellow survivors making it hard for the mother to hear. It abruptly cuts off, however, after we hear terrified screams amplify while the mother screams, and then the line cuts off, leaving David all by himself.
We learned that it took 5 days until Shelter 54 could be properly explored. The intense radiation was just too much, to the point where everyone within the shelter was immediately considered dead. I gotta say that the whole situation is an absolute nightmare. This series managed to truly surprise me by showing off such a cool action sequence, and then showing us one of the most brutal and unimaginable consequences to said battle. The whole idea of the evacuation sequence really reminded me of the opening to Dead Rising 2, where you're stuck carrying your daughter and racing against the zombie horde, desperately just trying to get to the shelter. But in this instance, the people went to where they were told they'd be safe, only to be met with probably one of the worst fates imaginable. We end up cutting to first-person POV, following a team heading into the shelter, and the whole place looks pretty horrendous. Almost like Mission 8 in Halo 3, or something you'd see straight out of Dead Space. We see as these little mutations are forming, and tendrils growing from the door frames. All the plant life gets mentioned, and this is leading me to believe a familiar figure is about to be introduced. We enter into this large room to see this giant ugly mass growing in the center, said to be a botanical growth, and our narrator is about to drop the most disturbing fact of all.
The victims inside had not just been consumed by the organism, but were a part of it, as were the plants from hydroponic storage.
It's literally Captain Keyes from Halo Combat Evolved. Our new organism has been labeled as Subject 19, and was honestly, understandably, kept hidden from the public. The giant creature, after somehow being extracted, was then transported to a UNGCC lab in Japan. For what? Honestly, I don't even want to know.
Chapter 2, Soul of a Rose. The chapter begins as we are introduced to Dr. Akira Shiragami, and for all you Godzilla fans out there, yes, that Dr. Shiragami. If you watched our previous video on this series, and I know you did, you'll remember Gene Maldonado mentioned the creation of superfoods. Well, it turns out that this guy was the brain behind all that. What a smart super cookie. We see footage of Subject 19 looking like the Thorian from Mass Effect, as we are told it was held in a water tank with artificial sunlight. Guess even monstrosities need vitamin D. It is estimated that about 15 people were being kept alive within the monster itself and were anatomically morphed to conjoin together. This would make medical procedures to separate the victims impossible, if they wanted to live, that is. The only victim that was able to communicate, however, was a 17-year-old girl named Erica Johnson. A little bit of a side note for Godzilla fans, but in the movie Godzilla vs. Biolante, which came out in December of 1989, Erica was the name of Dr. Shiragami's daughter. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. Erica hadn't fully joined the hive mind yet, therefore communication through infrared technology applied to the eye, real smart, was possible. I'll tell you what though, after seeing this footage, kinda wish it wasn't. The doctors are able to establish Erica's identity and learn Erica and the others are all in pain, claiming she is everyone.
Am I speaking with Erica?
Yeah.
Are you in pain?
Yeah. We all hurt.
The voice of Erica is very haunting, mostly due to the synthetic sound it has. In some ways, it reminds me of the Face Studio voice from the previously covered Mandela Catalog video. Despite its ability to speak human words, it just doesn't sound right. It's very emotionless, which makes sense considering the technological circumstances they find themselves in. But what makes it worse is that there are some parts that almost sound like it's attempting to show emotions, the ones that Erica is feeling. It gives this unsettling picture of Erica and, by implication, the rest of the victims all being trapped and suffering in endless pain, unable to scream or beg for help, except for this machine that tries to mimic a human voice.
We end up listening to an archived audio recording from Dr. Shirigami, explaining how the mutation is just getting worse, leaving him with only one option. A very odd option. Our doctor believes that the only way to help this hive mind of people would be to transfuse it with Godzilla cells. Supposedly, the regenerative properties could potentially help them. Do they believe this could reverse the effects? As it turns out, it ended up doing the opposite. Subject 19 now took on the form of a rose and grew way larger than expected. Dr. Shirigami tries to speak with Erica again, questioning why she has been quiet lately and if something is wrong. I feel like there are a lot of things wrong here, but I digress. Erica claims that something bad is inside, like the Godzilla cells. Erica says she wants to leave, but the doctor denies the request, obviously. This sends Erica into a frenzy and just begs for them to kill her.
What? Leave.
I'm sorry, Erica. Unfortunately, you must remain under observation a little longer.
Truly a horrific moment, literally straight out of a Cronenberg film.
Unfortunately, we are told that Erica was eventually lost to the biomass, and thus scientists lost their only connection to the subject. Shortly after, the doctor becomes a recluse, but was nice enough to allow his coworkers their holiday break. We hear audio footage confirming that Dr. Shirigami requested authorization to end this thing's suffering, but it was rejected because that'd be too merciful and smart for the government. Recognizing the council has made a stupid-ass decision, the doctor has elected to ignore it. He attempts to electrocute Subject 19, but that doesn't seem to do much. So when all else fails, what do you do? Exactly. Flamethrower. Unfortunately though, an inventory check exposes his plan, which causes security to confront him. Instead of barbecue though, we get Swiss cheese as the doctor is gunned down before he can mercy kill the subject. Shortly after though, the whole facility appears to fall apart as green gas fills the room. The soldiers run for the last few seconds of their life before they are killed by the facility falling apart. The subject apparently escaped into the underground but took the entire facility with it, claiming 112 lives. See, this is why you should always call off of work, even if you're not actually sick.
Chapter 3, Biolante. Our chapter opens up, and the first image we see is Biolante in a ginormous form. We get this heartbreaking moment where the captions translate the screams of Biolante as just saying, "Help me." The Japanese government ordered for Biolante to be destroyed, resulting in our science team coming up with an attack plan. We even learn the disturbing fact that at the center is Erica's eye. Kinda fucked to name it that. We then see as the plan commences, and our poor kaiju gets repeatedly bombed to oblivion. She collapses, but that doesn't mean dead. And in this instance, it means something a whole lot worse. Like, a lot worse.
After the flowers collapse, aerial photography revealed that not only was Subject 19 still alive, but mutating.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce whatever the hell this monstrosity is.
It's Insectosaurus! Nah, just kidding, I don't know this Pokemon. The video claims the subject took on a Godzilla-like form and began moving shortly after. Not sure what to call her, or them, so we'll just call it Biozilla. So, due to Biozilla coming out to play, the Unguk decides now is the best time to bring out the BFG, or rather the MBT-92. It's been quite successful in fighting kaijus before, so what's the worst that could happen? We see what that tongue does indeed do, before we go all Shockmaster on this thing, and then... well, we've done all we can do. That is until the John Cena of kaijus himself arrives. Yeah, that's right, baby. Godzilla is back to layeth the smackdown. He's got the pyro and everything. But instead of immediately leaping into combat, Godzilla seems intrigued. I think it's finally happened, everyone. Godzilla has found his soulmate. He seems especially taken when the two French kiss. It's explained that during this steamy makeout session, Biozilla absorbed G cells from Godzilla, which mutated itself. Gotta keep yourself protected, Godzilla. Come on, man. After a laser collection reference, Biozilla watches the enemy collapse.
It seems like Godzilla is down, but come on, no one is taking him out. He lasers the shit out of Biozilla and throws him to the floor, and in such a satisfying scene, he bites the head off. However, that doesn't stop Biozilla, as the headless body just sprouts a root from the neck. Godzilla knows how to take care of business, however. Once the fight was over, the military was able to reroute Godzilla back to the ocean, thankfully. However, radars then picked up a huge mass getting closer and closer to his location. Seems like Biozilla still isn't done, and once again has a brand new terrifying form. Again, the fight is on, and by God, this is just peak Godzilla action right here. In a shocking turn of events, Biozilla manages to lift Godzilla up and send him flying across the battlefield.
After crushing a family of 5 on a taco night, he fires his laser again before Biozilla tries to create hentai without asking. That's an easy fix though, considering Godzilla literally melts its existence and proceeds to bitch smack his aggressor. He fires his laser again, but right after it seems like Biozilla isn't ready to get on his knees and bow down, so he fires a ball of energy at Godzilla. Come on, Godzilla! He gets up, knees weak, arms are heavy, but that isn't Mom Spaghetti. Biozilla attempts more hentai before Godzilla basically uses the Scarlet Witch ult. After that, we are greeted by the mandatory SpongeBob explosion. From the ashes, we see not just Godzilla rise, but Shin Godzilla.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. Come on, you're cute. Come on, man.
We end up learning
Amateur
that the blast from Biozilla was highly toxic and paralyzed Godzilla. That ain't good. However, he ended up waking up just 4 days later, and then inactive for the next 3 months. Our narrator goes on to summarize the after effects of this entire incident, and we learn that Biolante has now taken full control over parts of the Okigahara forest, and is thankfully now not super aggressive, only when provoked. Luckily, the use of those Godzilla cells are now completely illegal, and all shelters have new decontamination protocols to prevent a situation like Shelter 54 from ever happening again. We are reminded that this was all due to just small mistakes, so we should always refer to the UNGCC Safety Protocol book. And to end off this entry, our narrator decided to leave things on quite the dark note.
The victims of Shelter 54 live on in Biolante, never able to live, never able to die. A dark reminder of our mistakes.
The event analysis report comes on screen, telling us that Shelter 54 was a threat level 3, with 2 subjects captured before this incredible tape comes to a close. Like I said in the last video, I understand why you all were so adamant I check this out. This series was spectacular. It's so cool to see the unique changes and directions that this channel is taking Godzilla. Seeing Biolante form was an awesome surprise. And not only that, but she turns into Shin Godzilla, literally the last thing on my bingo card. I really love that they went the body horror route with Biolante. I mean, in reality, that's kind of what it always has been, but I don't think we have ever seen it done to this level. This was something you would see out of a Cronenberg movie. The situation Erica found herself in is actually the definition of hell in my book. I believe this is probably the scariest I have ever seen Godzilla. We are always used to seeing the big fights and the destruction, but to focus on a group of people who weren't even unlucky enough to be stomped on or have rubble fall on them, but to literally have made it to quote-unquote safety, only to be met with the worst fate possible. First, drowning in acid blood, and leaving Erica to essentially feel all their dread. This truly does feel like the culmination of my Godzilla horror journey. I have witnessed peak. I understand I'm glazing right now, but I feel it's deserved, and I really can't wait to see where the story goes on from here.
As Mr. Plus said, this one's got it all. From the epic fights... I'm gonna say it one more time. From the big epic fights we come to see from Godzilla to even now straight up body horror. Shelter 54 stands as one of the best Godzilla horrors on the internet. The birth of Biolante was absolutely horrifying, as it took notes from terrifying stories such as I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and numerous other works of body horror. Images resembling that of the Flood from Halo and even the alien hive from the Aliens franchise really surprised me, considering the general aesthetic Godzilla usually adopts. Fun fact, if you're unaware, the aforementioned Godzilla vs. Biolante movie not only included the character of Erica, but it had her DNA mixed with the Rose and G cells to create Biolante. It's clear that the creators are fans of the franchise. Small details like this, and the use of creative liberties like the aforementioned horrific creation of Biolante, make this one a spectacular depiction of Godzilla. It manages to keep its themes of using caution with science and utilizing it in new ways, while also managing to appeal to the monkey brain side of us that just craves citywide chaos and giant laser explosions. And as always, the visuals and presentation was top-notch, especially for being a series on the internet and not an official production. If you're a fan of Godzilla, this is absolutely mandatory viewing. We may have covered it, but our video truly can't capture the horror and scale this video holds. Wow, what a wild ride of visual spectacle and trauma. I will surely speak to my therapist about it. Just kidding, I'll just keep talking about how I thought the actual end of the world was going to be cooler. Regardless, we thank you very much for sitting through yet another video of ours. The time you spend with us every week is truly special to us, and we can't thank you guys enough for your support. Your recommendations are always appreciated, and with every video, we hope to satisfy your sadistic needs for more than the last. And with that said, I'm handing the mic off to Mr. Plus. Stay beautiful, all of you.
This was definitely an incredible experience, and I have you all to thank for recommending this series, and in general by giving us the opportunity to cover these topics we care about deeply. But on that note, be sure to keep leaving us recommendations down below, whether in the YouTube comments or the community Discord where, just like Biolante, you'll never know where we could be. But if you'll excuse me, Mr. Midas and I are going to try out Shelter 53 instead.
Is that actually how it was spelled? Like prod?
No, I just like put random letters down because I...
Oh, okay. From my point of view, I was seeing Prodkif, and then I heard progenitor, and I was like, that's not how that goes at all. Like, it's not English.
Chapter 1, The Progenitor. Progenitor?
I think it's progenitor.
Progenitor?
Listen to the thing again. I'm pretty sure it's progenitor. I swear to God, if Caleb makes this a whole ass bit.
Progenitor. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like pro as in pro wrestling, and then gen as in generation, and then it's like progenitor except janitor.
Progenitor.
Yeah.
Okay. Chapter 1.
This is an elongated bit for Caleb to have to edit through.
Yeah, this is going to be bad. Progenitor. There we go.
Yeah.